is Natalia Belякova, and we are on grand tour now. And let me represent my dearest guest, Mariska Kesteloo, founder of World of Mice. Hi, Mariska, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Natalia?
Actually, we are both very optimistic during such tough, actually tough challenge for our industry. But I think we're together optimistic because of our strong belief in idea of influence marketing and in brand ambassadorships. Let's talk a bit about it. Regarding B2C brand ambassadorship, is more or less obvious thing. Now, what about B2B brand ambassadorship in MICE event and meetings industry? What's your vision about this?
Well, first of all, thank you for being part. I really like to work with people who are optimistic and who would see, as we say in English, who see the light at the end of the tunnel. So not being down, but being optimistic and to move forward and to shift our meetings and events towards online. So I'm very happy to connect wherever you are right now in Russia to have this conversation. So I am the founder of Word of Mice. This is a company, we create B2B influence and marketing campaigns for hotels, destinations, convention bureau, and other suppliers in the meetings and events industry. So what is our goal? What is our aim? Our aim is to tell the stories from the convention bureaus, from the hotels, from the venues, to show the real values and to spread it through the different channels. So this is not only online, so through social media, this can also be nowadays a webinar, a podcast, and this can also be an offline presence. And now it's not possible, but in the future it will. For example, also during a presentation.
In the nearest future.
yes. Promise. So perhaps during offline, during an exhibition at IBTM or IMEX. So, and why did I start it with this company is because we have so much choice. We can organize events anywhere at the world, but we want to know what is the story behind the destination. Why should I go? Why should I travel with my company all the way to, for example, to St. Petersburg, where we met? What has this city to offer, which is an added value, for example, but also the choice of the venues. How do you, I would say, treat your staff? What do you do with food waste? But also what kind of service do you offer to your guests? Now, especially we're living in an online world, a technical world. Not everyone is digital and technically connected. So we want to bring those stories to make the choice of event planners much easier. And that the difference between, I would say, the biggest difference between B2C and B2B is we work with people from the industry. So we work with experts who have at least 5 years of working experience and I would say who are of course active online and who are independent. So these are long-term strategic partnerships that we create between the suppliers and the influencers.
Mm-hmm. Mariska, do you have maybe some examples such long way launching and process of implementation of opinion leaders into the strategy of destination?
Destinations, yes, I have, and also from hotels. First, it was our first biggest, I would say, pilot project was with Flanders. Flanders is a region in Belgium. And Flanders had a new strategy. They said we want to become the international association hub. Because Flanders has a lot of knowledge. Of course, we are known for the harbor, Antwerp, which is one of the biggest harbors in the world. So logistic-wise, but also on food-wise, Belgium eat very good. So we have a lot of knowledge in our region, and we want to attract associations who are also can, for example, can visit a factory. So it was not the focus on venues, it was the focus on the knowledge that is present. But how do you shift your strategy completely, and how do you announce it to your target audience? So first of all,
which was Mariska, which was the target audience for Flanders? It was only the external audience or locals as well?
We focused on, because the biggest markets for Flanders are UK and Germany. So those are the two major international markets. So therefore we chosen two influencers, one from UK and one from Germany, to represent the market, because they speak their language, they understand what's going on in these countries. These influencers have worked, or one was still working in an association, so she understood the market, she understood the knowledge of how decisions go in an association, and the other was working as a freelancer but had also organized events for associations. So it is very important, and that's what I want to share with you, is if you work with influencers, be very specific with who do you want to work with. And don't look on the amount of followers, but look on the knowledge. Someone who understands and represents the audience and also has a personality. It also needs to be a personality. It's like a dating. It's like dating. You want to, or employee. You want to, you want to find the right person. So this process is essential and crucial for your success. But on an association market is quite challenging, because it's a bit boring, it's a bit old-fashioned. So what they did, they did interviews with representatives before they came to Flanders. So they did. So Flanders has representatives in France, in Germany, in the UK. So they did interviews. So focus on the knowledge side. And in the meantime, they were already announcing that they were coming to Flanders to visit the region, but also to visit the International World Congress of Association that was taking place in Antwerp. So these two aspects were communicated upfront. Then they came to Flanders. They both had individual trips. So it means that one influencer was going to another destination than the other influencer, also based on their profile, based on their personal interest. Then they visited the conference and they went back home, where they captured information in blogs, write about it, and then adding IMAX to it, and said, if you're interested and you cannot travel to Flanders, meet our representatives at IMAX. So that's how you can combine online and offline activities together, from focusing on knowledge, prepare your audience, teasing your audience, creating awareness, because this was creating awareness for Flanders as the international association hub, and then also connect them with the representatives at the fair. But these are long-term collaborations.
And how Flanders works with influence apart big events, apart IMAX and so on during the year? What's the point of triggers of activation for these persons?
Well, we only set up the campaign for 5 months. So it was started from the beginning of the year until just after IMAX. So that's 5 months. So and we were in touch very regularly with Flanders to say, okay, is there any change in your strategy? What do we need? So, but the content that is produced from the influencers, they can use it also afterwards. So even if this campaign, the influencer campaign, has finished, you can still engage and take the profit out of I would say, it's like putting the seeds in the ground. You can harvest later. So the content, videos, Instagram stories, blog posts,
to hit the lead, right?
Yes. You can still you reuse the content, and even the influencers sometimes also have, like we call it, throwback Thursday on social media. They sometimes still post about those moments, so you can still keep that connection going with influencers. And therefore it's very important for you, for the people who are watching, engage with your influencers on a long term, because it's not that people make,
right?
yeah, because I don't make the decision today to go to Moscow or to St. Petersburg to organize an event. It will take time to build up a relationship. It will take time. So before you can really harvest what you put in the ground, it takes time. So therefore, by using the influencers, it can only support your communication, your visibility, your awareness, promoting your new strategy. So therefore, it's important to think long-term, strategically, online and offline.
Yeah, we must make lots of touches of this audience, and to hit them, to show them how they are still useful for destination. So I think it's very important to ask their expert opinion regarding destination even after the campaign was officially finished. It's very important point. Mariska, in my opinion, the world after post-coronavirus world will dramatically change. Anyway, it will be the crucial changing. In your opinion, how do you feel? How the influence marketing, I mean B2B, brand ambassadorship in meeting and events industry, how it will be changed after this situation in which we are now? Unbelievable. For how long are you staying
Well,
at home?
sometimes I have the feeling that I am an actress in the worst movie that I have ever seen. And this is like a never, and this movie doesn't want to stop, even if I'm sleeping and I wake up and I think,
yeah. Big Brother watch you, yeah.
Indeed. Well, I think first, if we look to purely influencer marketing, but also ambassadors, I will come to that later. I think influencers will profit out of this situation. Why? Because what do we need in particular in this time of the year, is trust. We are very insecure. We don't know what's going to happen. So influencers, you can call them content creators, but you can also call them thought leaders who have built up experience in this industry, who share their opinion about social distancing, share their opinions, how to move forward after the crisis. The people who continue their communication and engage with their audience of followers will gain because they remain top of mind. And those are the ones who will come out stronger out of this situation. So my belief is that influencer marketing, and I'm not speaking just only about, I would say, the paid influencers, because I want to share with the people who are listening and say, yeah, but we don't have any budget using influencers. Also look towards speakers who have been to your event or destination, using your employees who are perhaps now also, I would say, out of work because they can't visit any clients, or perhaps your partners or other people that you have worked with in the past can talk about your product or service. They can also be the influencers for your company, and that without any payment, because we're all in this situation together. We're talking not about sales, not about promotion, but keeping the communication going, keep that relationship with your partners, with your audience of followers, keep that relationship going, because that's crucial. It's like a marriage. If you are, yeah, I mean, if I get married and I have the first discussion or with my husband, I'm not going to separate, do I? So therefore, if you have now a crisis, you cannot lose the communication or relationship with your most important clients. Keep the communication going, but we are all very insecure. But if you have continued the communication, you will create that trust, you will keep that relationship going. So therefore I think that people who are using influencers, speakers, partners, real influencers, and they will come out stronger out of this situation. And I hope that people will use also influencers constantly in their strategic communication. Ambassadors, those are people in general who are not paid. And ambassadors can also be like professors from high schools. But also look, because this group is very important nowadays. Even if the people are not paid, but these are your external, I would say, representatives. So also look very carefully to your current ambassadors if you can add new people, because we're getting now a younger generation. Not only add people from high schools or universities, professors. Why don't you ask normal businessmen, people who are also involved in politics, or even influencers, travel influencers, or other people engage with your ambassador, because you want to also have different people coming towards your destination. So I think people who are really good in relationship management, ambassadors, influencers, they will come out stronger than, and I'm very positive that we will, we have all suffered. People have lost loved ones, people are getting sick, people lose their job, people are in huge financial debt, companies will break down or will not able to rebuild. So there is a huge pain, I would say. So, but just showing your support and showing that you're there, like we should do as humans. So what I see is that some relationship will become stronger and more intense, and some relations will disappear. But I think that we will make a much more, I would say, a choice who is based on awareness. Where do I go? Where do I go in the future with a company that to a destination which is safe, which I know people are there, are really taking care of me because they were there in times when we were in this crisis, and also to a destination where they take care of food waste, where we take care of technology, where they take care of hygiene, all the new rules and regulations that we need to implement. Those destinations, hotels and venues are, I believe that despite we are going through a very, I would say, a very strong curve, they will profit, but it's a long.
First of all, we flatten the curve, and
then
start
we're not there yet, but I would only recommend that people think, what should we communicate? People are struggling, but I would say think about yourself. What do you need now? What do we miss? We miss the personal connection. We would have done this conversation preferably face to face, but we can't. Everybody's missing the face to face connection. So try to replace that feeling towards your clients and partners, and don't think about far away. We've always think out of the box. Now it's time to think in the box.
Yeah, I think now the world is full of possibilities. We have lots of items or possibilities for user-generated content points, lots of. And the second point I'd like to emphasize that brand ambassadors or influencers are everywhere. You just should watch on them and find out them and work with them. So how do you feel that the sort of circumstance that the person, brand ambassador must be the person originally from this area, originally from this destination? Do you agree with it or not? Because in my opinion, now it's time to find out brand ambassadors everywhere from all around the world. Just put into mind their idea, does this person suits to my goals or not?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, because even if you are born and raised in St. Petersburg, and after perhaps you are moving to my country, to the Netherlands, you are then a perfect ambassador for your city, because we are, almost everyone is proud on their countries, proud on their roots, where they're coming from. And especially if you moved in the past years towards another country, build up their life and a family, but you still have that connection with your home country. So those are also great persons who could be an ambassador for your home city, because they have a local connection where they are living now, for example, in Amsterdam. So, but they could be a perfect brand ambassador for St. Petersburg. It doesn't always have to be local, I think, because nowadays we're so connected online. We talk with the entire world. If it's China, Alaska, Ushuaia, the Netherlands. I mean, so I think, but to be a brand ambassador, there are some essentials, I would say, because you need to know the culture, you need to speak the language, or perhaps you are a big fan of St. Petersburg or you've been there many times. But I think the most important thing where we need to select people on is based on passion, on authentic people, and people who are willing to make a change. And it's not about being a professor of a high-level university. Yes, and I don't like papers, I don't like titles. I prefer to work with people who are honest, who are authentic, and who are professional. And I think you see the difference. You can talk with a professor, and I don't want to offend anyone, but you can talk with a professor who has many degrees, but it doesn't mean that he's passionate about his
Right.
And I think if you are passionate and authentic, you are also willing to go the extra mile. And I think those are the people that you can recruit all around the world, from, I would say, from all ages and from all backgrounds, because I think it's important to have a diverse group of people who represent your city and destination.
Actually, from this point of view, I'm great the fan of the passion ambassadors case. You remember case of Singapore. It's
Yes.
Fantastic, because they collect brand ambassadors from everywhere. It doesn't matter from it's the Singaporean person originally, because Singapore is a great melting pot anyway. To attract talents, to attract skilled migrants from all around the world. So I prefer, as you prefer, such a holistic approach to the idea of brand ambassadorship.
Nice way to say it, holistic.
It's we've just finished, so we have several minutes for small forecast from your side, small forecast for future in horizon on 1 or 5 years, for how the meeting and event industry will recover from such very crucial stop which we have now.
Well, I'm not a trend watcher, but I think
you are
but I think first of all we have I think there are different groups. First of all, I think people who will come out stronger out of this situation, and the people who suffer from this situation, and it can be on different levels. Of course, a lot of people will lose their jobs. So the long-lasting effect, I think, in 5 years, we will still feel, in some ways, this stop, because it has such an amazing impact. I mean, hotels or change will fall down before we will go back to sort of new normal days. If you hear that Facebook and Google have canceled all their face-to-face events until June 2021, it means that, and we're not even June 2020. So it means that we still have a long time to recover, and before if things will go back to normal. So in 5 years' time, we will still notice a difference. I will see a few things on a personal level. I think we will, hopefully we'll have a better balance between online and offline meetings. So we will use much more online meetings. In our industry, we were already adapted. We already used Zoom or GoToWebinar. And I think we were much more cautious on where we travel. In the beginning, we were spontaneous. I said, oh, we'll go to St. Petersburg, and the next day we were in Singapore. We will be much more cautious about if we travel, about health, about our own health, about health of our family that we're taking with. So I think we're much more cautious. And being also now, the third point is because we are not now much more time at home with our family and relatives. And to go back to full-time travel, now you've spent a lot of time with your family. I think we have learned again to appreciate the small things that we have in life. Our society was very money driven, and now the society had to stop for our health, to take care of the people who are vulnerable, who are sick. So I think, and I hope we will remember that, and that we need to take care of ourselves and of our loved ones, and that we will take care more time for our family and friends. And that is the most important thing that you will have, and work will come on number 2. But in our Western world, we've also learned work is important and health comes afterwards. We're not used to that the world stops and that we have to take care of our health. It's been always money, work, prestige, ego driven. And I hope that we will become a little bit more human by this.
Let's start from the very beginning, right?
Yeah, so that's what I hope. So, but we will feel a long-lasting effect of this crisis. Yes, that's one thing for sure. And also the events that we will visit will not look the same. They will be, the entrance will be different. We will pay more attention on hygiene. There will be a bigger impact if we visit face-to-face events. Much bigger impact of technology. Is there still a social distancing? And perhaps events will be smaller, and so there will be, and also the paperwork behind the cancellation fees, the policies. We will be much more. I would say we would choose much more in general for security. We hope that this pandemic will never happen again, but we know it's going to happen again. When we just don't know. But so people will be more cautious and more aware, and so they will, if they would choose a venue, they will look now more carefully to the cancellation policies before.
And I think we will speak or think about destination like hygiene. It's not only about health, it's about the relationship with the destination, with the hotel, how sustainable this venue, and so on. So the hygiene of relationship with the world, I think this the new approach and the new challenge to all industries, as well as event and meeting industries. Mariska, thanks a lot for your time. I hope that we will proceed with our discussion about B2B and brand ambassadorship programs, because really it's very intensifying thing, especially after crisis. And so thanks the St. Petersburg Convention Bureau session. Thanks for your participation in this process. Now we speak a bit more about this thing. Yes. So, and it will be my honor to proceed with this topic with you. Thanks a lot, dear. I'd like just to remind that with us was Mariska Kesteloo, founder World of Mice. See you on Grand Tour Routes.
Okay, thank you very much, Natalia, and I hope to see you soon live.
Yeah.